Know Your Manipur, a program that explores important and hidden tourist spots of Manipur.
Hi, your host Nancy, back again to take you on another adventure trip like always. Only in this episode, I'm going to take you back to history. The Second World War and the exploits of the Indian National Army or the Azad Hind Force of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Manipur will always remain special in the history of the INA and India's freedom struggle. The state distinguishes itself for being the place where the Indian tricolor flag with a jumping tiger was first unfurled for the first time in the present Indian state. Come along, we are going to Moirang where the INA Museum now stands. On the way to Moirang, just 7 kilometers away from Imphal is the Imphal International Airport. This model airport will soon be named the Bir Tikendrajit International Airport after the brave warrior Prince of Manipur who revolted against the British.
Few meters away from the airport, to the right is the IOC. Next to the IOC depot would be the much awaited Imphal railway station. Around 21 km is the Maibam Lokpaching, also known as the Red Hills. It is where the decisive battle was fought between the Allied forces on one side and the Japanese and the INA on the other side. Outdone by the Allied, the Japanese and the INA team had to retreat upon suffering heavy casualty and eventually surrender, leading to the end of the Great World War.
In 1944, this was one of the famous battlefields of the Second World War, where the British Army of the Allied Forces and the Japanese Royal Army, backed up by the INA, had a fierce battle. Today, a peace memorial stands here and has become a major tourist spot. Come along, let's go and see. Every year, many war pilgrimages, especially the people from Japan, come to Manipur only to visit this place and others to pay their homage to the soldiers who died in the war. Little away there, a war museum has come up, housing collections of rare artifacts and other relics, including weapons, war materials used during the World War. Come, let's go and see if it's open, and if it is, we can get a quick glimpse.
This is a 6,500 square feet gallery where World War II archaeological finds are allotted appropriate contextual spaces in the narrative of a cataclysmic historical trajectory Manipur found itself in because of a peculiar turn of the geopolitics of the period. These artifacts from the past are reconnected to the activities which once gave them meaning by materially and symbolically remaking the world they came from. What a trip back to time.
How did this museum came up and why do you think it's necessary?
The Imphal Peace Museum, as we have here, is located at a very, very strategic location. When you enter the museum from the Tidim Road, Tidim itself is a very historic road. Actually, Tidim is a village in Myanmar, now in Myanmar. So it was a very important road during the Second World War. The Imphal Peace Museum is located here at the Maibam Road, Paching, and the particular hill that we have is also called as the Red Hill. This hill was a very strategic location for the British as well as the line led by the Japanese and the British. So that particular hill is also called as the point 2926 in military terms. There was a fierce battle that was fought in that particular hill, and we thought that Manipur being a place where the UK had declared the Battle of Imphal and Kohima as one of the fiercest battles of Second World War. We thought that this museum is very, very important, wherein this museum can become a place for peace and reconciliation between the two parties. You have the British, the Allied led by the British, and the Japanese Axis. So since 2013-14, we have been, commemorating a number of events, especially during the month of May and June, where the fierce event. Battle took place. So this museum is funded by the Japanese, and we are showcasing to the people of Manipur, to the whole world, that there are no victors in war. We have three different sections. We have the war section, the post-war section, and the life and culture section. So we would like people, to come to this museum and have a feeling of that there are no victors in war, and they have to learn lessons from this museum and go back and translate these into words, into actions, so that whenever you think about those souls who have lost their lives, people and soldiers and armies coming from far off distance, from Japan, from Britain, from Canada, from Australia, and we as Manipuris became a victim. We were a very peaceful place at one point of time, and suddenly the two warring factions came down and started fighting. People have seen bombers for the first time in their lives, So we wanted this museum to become a place for peace and reconciliation for all the people across the world, irrespective of whether it's the Japanese or the British or the Manipuris or Indians.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Most welcome.
Impressive, wasn't it? Did you know that this museum, the Imphal Peace Museum, was dedicated to the indomitable human spirit of the people of Manipur in the face of the Great War? Despite of their own misery, in a true humanistic tradition, the Manipuris extended their humanitarian help to any soldier in need, harboring no bitterness against any of the warring sides. This museum is a chronicle of heroism of the ordinary Manipuri. Come along, INA Museum beckons us. Come on.
Geographically, Manipur is made up of 9 hill ranges encircling an oval-shaped valley. Some even call the valley a rice ball, with paddy being the principal crop grown throughout the length and breadth. Unfortunately, population pressure is quite evident on this once lush green paddy fields with residential homes and buildings being constructed on the fields despite legislating an agricultural act which prohibits encroaching on agricultural land.
Another historical fact of Moirang is the romantic legend of Khambay and Thoibi. The legend of Khambay and Thoibi is the Manipur's version of Romeo and Juliet. A selfie is called for with Khambay and Thoibi. Come, let's go.
It happened on April 14, 1944, under the leadership of Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik of the 1st Division of INA. After a fierce land battle against Allied forces, the Indian tricolour was unfurled at about 5 p.m. at Moirang, around 44 km from Imphal and just some kilometers from the scenic Loktak Lake, a wetland of international significance. From then, the Azad Hind Fauj Teli Chalo march resumed. This is the Moirang-Churachandpur crossroad. The road on the right leads to Churachandpur district. The one on the left is the road to Moirang, INA Museum, the famous Loktak Lake, Kaibul Lamjao National Park and so on. This roadside market is a favorite stop for people to shop for eateries and yes, lafu or plantain from Thangjing.
This plantain stem, locally called the lapu, is a delicacy. They are perfect for iromba, a must dish for the locals, made with fermented fish called ngari, with mashed potatoes, a lot of chilies, and a vegetable of choice. In this case, plantain for lapu iromba. Let me buy some to take home. Man lapu zai chaba yi bibiyo.
Si yang kai lo.
Chaba yi lo. Eat. I just love this for iromba. I can't wait to get home. Anyway, INA Museum back on us, so must move on. Normally, this stop is also for a stop for lunch, a delicious Moirang lunch. One can sample what I mean at this rice hotel.
Kuthabi Rice Hotel is favorite for many visitors, local as well as tourists. Managed entirely by women folks, delicious local cuisines, both vegetarian and non-veg, are being served with rice. Local alcohol distilled from rice is also available here. Moirang is no exception to the strong tradition of women's market in Manipur. This is the market where the fishes caught from Loktak Lake, the largest freshwater lake in the northeast India, are sold. Besides a variety of local fishes, local produce of the area is sold exclusively by women. The market also has its own food stalls for tea, snacks, and even a hearty meal is served. Despite the tourist potential, Moirang Bazaar lacks basic infrastructure. It is congested and lacks parking space.
Besides Loktak Lake, Moirang is also famous for the Kaibul Lamjao National Park, the only floating wildlife sanctuary in the whole world, the ancient temple of Lord Thangjing, and of course the INA. It is just around the corner. Without further ado, let's go there. Follow me. the Indian National Army Museum. It is a treasure of relics connected with struggle against the British imperialism to emancipate the Indian motherland. Moirang has a special place in the history of India's freedom struggle. During the World War II, Moirang was the headquarters of Azad Hind Force. It was here that the flag of the Indian National Army was first unfurled by Colonel Sokat Malik of INA on 14th April 1944. With the help of the Manipuris like Mairembam Koireng Singh and others of the INA. I am truly overwhelmed by the saga of sacrifice made by the Liberation Army of Netaji. Are you not? I'm sure you are as well. Let's explore the museum. Come.
The Indian National Army Martyrs Memorial Complex is a tribute to Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and the INA personnel who hoisted the Indian National Army's tricolour flag at Moirang for the very first time on Indian soil. The complex consists of 3 units: the INA Auditorium, the Netaji Library, and the INA War Museum, having over 1,000 museum objects and documents relating to the Second World War and the Indian Army movement. All in all, the INA Martyrs Memorial Complex stands as a pointer to the sacred and patriotic blood of 25,000 Indian National Army who sacrificed their precious lives to liberate India from the clutches of British colonial yoke. The INA War Museum was inaugurated on the 23rd of September 1969 by the then Prime Minister Srimati Indira Gandhi. It is one of the most important units of the complex, which attracts a large number of visitors from all over the world and the country. The heroic deeds of the INA, the life and works of Netaji are the portrayal of this museum. Besides this, artifacts like war relics of the Second World War found in the fields of Manipur are displayed in this museum to keep the memories alive. A series of interlinked exhibitions mounted in the museum provides a vivid account of total mobilization of the Indians in Southeast Asia for the cause of the country's liberation from the yoke of British rule. The photographs of Netaji and the activities of INA in relation to the Indian freedom movement 1941 to 1945 in Germany and East Asia in varying sizes in both black and white and color are the main attraction of the museum. Maps being central to a war museum, INA Museum has great many, highlighting the stages of the war like this map, depicting Netaji's great escape of 1941 and 1943, maps showing the advance and withdrawal of Azad Hind Fauj, maps of Afghanistan and tribal territories showing routes adopted by Netaji and other commanders,
This was one of the most prominent and imposing picture inside the pictorial gallery of the southern wings of the museum in life-size oil painting of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose in military uniform on canvas of 5.6 into 12 with walnut frame and 2 high pedestal taken from a photograph at Imperial Hotel, Tokyo, 1943. What an experience! Truly awesome. A trip to INA Memorial Complex is a must for all Indian, especially the students and youth, to instill the love for freedom, spirit of sacrifice, and patriotism. We should also appreciate the enormous transformation this complex has got through to become the world-class tourist spot that it truly deserves. Recently, the 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was observed here. Salute today, Netaji, for giving your day for us to enjoy the fruit of freedom. Time now for a break, and let's enjoy the panoramic view of the enchanting Loktak Lake at Sendra Tourist Resort. Come on. Bye-bye. Until next episode on another exciting adventure. See ya.